Notorious B.I.G. has been gunned down.
The case has been solved and the killers identified.
It's been 27 years since one of the darkest assassinations in the rap industry sent Notorious B.I.G. 6 feet deep. After years of investigations, some new truths have come to light about the fateful night of Biggie's death and the person who pulled the trigger. If you think Keefe D getting arrested for Tupac's death was shocking, wait till you see Biggie's killer revealed. Keep watching till the end of this video to see Biggie's killer revealed in disturbing footage. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to the #1 celebrity jeweler, the Ice Champ. The Ice Champ is doing a special deal for the next 24 hours on diamond watches, chains, and more. Follow at the Ice Champ on Instagram now.
Biggie's killer revealed. As one of the biggest unsolved murders in the history of the rap game, many names have been brought up in the investigation of Biggie's murder. From corrupt police to deadly record label bosses like Suge Knight and several gang members. The man who truly pulled the trigger on Biggie Smalls was identified shortly before he himself was assassinated in 2003. With the failure of the Los Angeles PD to arrest someone for the murder of Biggie, retired LAPD detective Greg Kading took it upon himself to unearth what had really transpired on the night of Biggie's assassination. Within 3 years, Kading had provided evidence that revealed the man who took out the Notorious B.I.G. In his 3 years of working the case, not only did Kading find out who killed Biggie and why, but he also got 2 men to confess their involvement in the assassination of Biggie. Shockingly, one of the men who confessed was none other than Keefe D, who has been arrested and charged with the murder of Tupac Shakur, Biggie's greatest rival. According to Kading, Keefe D detailed in his confession that rapper Suge Knight had been enraged over the murder of Tupac Shakur. Suge believed that the deadly beef between Tupac and Biggie led to Tupac's assassination by Biggie. Keefe claimed that Suge wanted to get revenge, and during his 3 years of investigation, Kading discovered that Suge had paid a Mob Piru gang member, Wardell Faust, aka Poochie, to take out Biggie Smalls. Former Death Row Records artist Danny Boy recently recounted the night of Biggie's murder, and according to him, he was around Poochie before the murder, and the vibe he gave off was weird and suspect. Danny Boy was asked in an interview whether he was aware that Poochie was an official suspect in Biggie's murder, and whether he knew that Suge Knight had allegedly hired Poochie. Danny Boy claimed that he had heard about the allegations in the past and believed that Poochie could have taken the hit because according to him, it was kind of eerie when Poochie came around. He looked like that man. Danny Boy went on to say about Poochie, he definitely was a killer. He looked like it. He acted like it when he came in the room. It was something about him. He wasn't a tall man. He wasn't big. Nothing like that. To me, he looked like that wasn't the one to f with. Danny Boy, who had been around Poochie, revealed that he seemed like a cold-blooded killer, who might have just been a killer for hire. In Danny Boy's words, when he came around, he looked really serious. I don't think he gave a fuck about music. He looked like one of those people who didn't even listen to music. It wasn't a nice feeling when he came around for me. Danny Boy and Greg Kading weren't the only ones to confirm that Poochie was involved in Biggie's assassination. Mob James, who was once a member of the Mob Piru, claimed that Poochie pulled the trigger on Biggie. He said in an interview, everybody in their right mind that was there knows what happened, but ain't nobody going to say Poochie, Poochie, Poochie. Now that he's dead, everybody can speak on it, and whatever. I'm surprised they haven't come and said they know who did it. On July 24th, 2003, Poochie was riding his motorcycle when he was gunned down and killed with a bullet to the back. Word on the street is Poochie was killed in retaliation for Biggie's murder. The dark night of Biggie's murder. The mystery of Biggie's demise continues to grow wider, and that's because even after 27 years, not many people know the true details of what happened on the night Biggie was gunned down. On the fateful night of March 9th, 1997, Biggie, alongside his entourage, were on their way to attend an after-party at Steve Stout's house. Biggie, Sean Diddy Combs, and their entourage left in 2 separate SUVs, and just a few minutes after hitting the road, they were followed by a dark-colored Chevrolet Impala SS. At about About 12:45 a.m., the entourage came to a stop at a red light at the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and South Fairfax Avenue in Los Angeles. Within a few seconds, the Impala pulled up beside the vehicle Biggie was in, and the driver rolled down his window, revealing a 9mm blue steel pistol, and fired right at Biggie. After being hit with 4 bullets, Biggie was pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. The similarities between the life and death of the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur have been described by many fans as uncanny. Not only did they spend the short span of their lives beefing with each other, but they also died similarly, in a drive-by at a traffic light just months apart. Many of Biggie's fans believe that Suge Knight truly ordered the hit on Biggie as revenge for Tupac's demise. Biggie's dark and lengthy beef record. The Notorious B.I.G. found himself in one of the most legendary rap feuds that has ever rocked the rap industry. While Tupac and Biggie started off as friends, the dynamics of their relationship quickly changed after Tupac got robbed in 1994. Tupac was at a recording studio in New York City when he was robbed and shot multiple times by members of Biggie's Bad Boys Records. Shortly after the robbery, things took a turn in their friendship as Tupac grew suspicious of Biggie. The two began sending out diss tracks to each other as their beef grew deadly. Tupac hopped on several tracks like Hit 'Em Up and Against All Odds, where he called out Biggie and his associates for robbing him and called them traitors outright. Biggie responded to Tupac's disses with tracks like Who Shot Ya and Long Kiss Goodnight. The diss tracks and name-dropping in interviews continued to fuel the feud between Biggie and Tupac. As the beef between the two rappers continued to make headlines in the music industry, they took their beef out of the studio and into the streets. After several attempts on his life, Tupac was eventually killed in a drive-by shooting in September 1996, and word on the street was Biggie ordered the hit on Tupac. 6 months after Tupac was gunned down, Biggie was also taken out, hence bringing the dark and lengthy rivalry between the two to an end. Biggie's dark and lengthy criminal record. Aside from being tough in the rap game, Biggie was even tougher on the streets and had a series of run-ins with the feds. In June 1995, Biggie was arrested on robbery and aggravated assault charges. He was accused of breaking a man's jaw before stealing his jewelry, mobile phone, and beeper. Barely a year later, in 1996, Biggie got arrested for assaulting a couple of his fans. The rapper had a performance in Manhattan with 2 autograph seekers approaching him moments after watching the performance. The 2 fans got into an argument with Biggie and words were exchanged. After the fans got into a cab, Biggie trailed them in his vehicle, and when the cab came to a stop at a traffic light, Biggie and one of his associates hopped out of their vehicle and began to smash the windows of the cab with a baseball bat and punched one of the fans in the face. Biggie, alongside his associate, were arrested and charged with assault. Biggie pleaded guilty to second-degree harassment and was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. A couple of months after that, Biggie found himself behind bars